The Space Race. In a small town named Clearview, there was a school called Star Valley High. This school was not like other schools. It had a special program where students could learn about space. The students loved space, rockets, and planets. Every year, the school held a big event called the Space Race. This race was famous all over the country. Many students dreamed of winning it. This year, the space race was more exciting than ever. The prize was a trip to the Space Center, where the winner would get to see real rockets and meet astronauts. Every student wanted to win, especially a boy named Alex and a girl named Mia. They were the best students in the space program. Alex was smart and loved building things. He spent hours making small rockets and reading books about space. Mia was just as talented. She was brave and had a lot of great ideas. She loved to explore and learn new things. Both of them wanted to win the space race, but they knew it would not be easy. The space race was not just a simple game. It was a competition with many tasks. The students had to build a small rocket, answer questions about space, and complete a space-themed obstacle course. They also had to show their teamwork and problem-solving skills. It was a real test of their knowledge and abilities. Alex and Mia were both very determined. They decided to work hard and practice every day. Alex went to his garage and started building a small rocket. He used paper, glue, and small parts he found around the house. He wanted his rocket to be fast and go high in the sky. He measured every part carefully and tested it many times. Mia, on the other hand, focused on learning about space. She read books and watched documentaries about planets, stars, and astronauts. She made notes and studied every night. She wanted to be ready for the questions about space. Mia also started training for the obstacle course. She ran every morning to build her strength and speed. A few weeks before the race, the school announced the teams. Alex and Mia were placed on different teams. Alex was the captain of the Red Rockets, and Mia was the captain of the Blue Comets. Both teams were very excited. They knew they had a lot of work to do, but they were ready for the challenge. The first task of the space race was to build a small rocket. Both teams had to build their rockets and make them fly. The rocket that flew the highest would win the task. Alex and his team worked day and night. They tested different designs and materials. They wanted their rocket to be perfect. Mia and her team did the same. They worked together, shared ideas, and tested their rocket many times. They faced many problems. Sometimes the rocket did not fly. Sometimes it broke. But they did not give up. They kept trying until they made a rocket that was strong and light. Finally, the day of the first task arrived. The school playground was full of students, teachers, and parents. Everyone was excited to see the rockets fly. Alex and Mia stood with their teams, holding their rockets. They were nervous, but also very excited. The teacher in charge of the space race, Mr. Johnson gave the signal. Alex's team went first. They placed their rocket on the launch pad. Alex counted down 3, 2, 1, launch. The rocket shot up into the sky. It flew high, leaving a trail of smoke behind. Everyone cheered as it reached its peak and then slowly came back down. Next, it was Mia's turn. Her team placed their rocket on the launch pad. Mia took a deep breath and counted down 3, 2, 1, launch. The rocket soared into the sky. It went higher and higher until it was just a small dot in the sky. The crowd watched in awe as the rocket stayed in the air for a long time before coming back down. After both rockets had flown, Mr. Johnson measured the height. He announced the Blue Comet's rocket flew higher. Mia and her team cheered. They had won the first task. Alex and his team were a bit disappointed, but they clapped for Mia's team. They knew the race was not over yet. The next task was a quiz about space. Both teams had to answer questions about planets, stars, rockets, and astronauts. The team with the most correct answers would win. Mia was confident because she had studied a lot, but Alex was also ready. He knew a lot about space, too. The teams sat in the school hall, ready for the quiz. Mr. Johnson asked the first question. What is the closest planet to the sun? Mia quickly pressed the buzzer and answered, Mercury. The answer was correct, and her team got the first point. The quiz continued with more questions. Some were easy, like what is the name of our galaxy? Others were harder, like how many moons does Jupiter have? Both teams answered many questions correctly. It was a close contest. After a long round of questions, the quiz ended. Mr. Johnson looked at the scores. The Red Rockets and the Blue Comets are tied. He announced. The crowd cheered. The competition was intense, and now it was time for the final and most difficult part of the race, the space-themed obstacle course. Alex and Mia knew this would be the most challenging task. The obstacle course was designed to test their physical strength, teamwork, and problem-solving skills. It was set up like a space mission. The students had to crawl through tunnels, climb walls, and solve puzzles. They even had to wear space suits while completing the course. As the day ended, both teams went home thinking about the final task. Alex knew he had to come up with a strategy to win. Mia was also planning her team's approach. They both knew that this final task would decide the winner of the space race. The night before the final task, Alex and Mia could not sleep. They were too excited and nervous. They knew that tomorrow would be the most important day of the space race. Both of them were ready to give their best. The next morning, the sun rose over Clearview, and everyone was ready for the final day of the space race. The students arrived at the school early, wearing their team colors proudly. The Red Rockets and the Blue Comets were ready for the last and most difficult challenge, the space-themed obstacle course. The school playground had been transformed overnight. The obstacle course was huge, with many parts that looked like a real space mission. There were tunnels to crawl through, walls to climb, and stations where teams had to solve puzzles. At the end of the course was a tall tower that the teams had to climb to plant their team's flag. Whoever planted their flag first would win the space race. Alex and Mia gathered their teams. They stood in front of the course, looking at all the obstacles they had to overcome. Mr. Johnson, the teacher in charge, explained the rules. This obstacle course will test your strength, speed, teamwork, and knowledge about space. Remember, this is not just about being fast. It's about working together and solving problems. The team that reaches the top of the tower and plants their flag first will be the winner of the space race. The teams nodded. They were ready. Alex turned to his team and said, "We need to stay calm and work together. Let's give it our best." Mia told her team, "Remember what we practiced. We can do this if we stay focused and help each other." Mr. Johnson blew the whistle, and the race began. Both teams ran toward the first obstacle, a long tunnel they had to crawl through. The tunnel was dark and narrow, just like a real space station tunnel. Alex went first for the red rockets, moving quickly through the tunnel. Mia led her team, crawling fast but carefully. The next part was the climbing wall. It was tall and had different paths to the top. Alex and Mia both knew this was going to be tough. Alex's team reached the wall first. They started climbing, but one of his team members, Jack, was struggling. He was afraid of heights. Alex saw this and quickly came up with an idea. "Jack, don't look down. Just focus on my voice," Alex said. He guided Jack step by step, helping him find places to grip the wall. Slowly, Jack started to climb with more confidence. Meanwhile, Mia and her team reached the wall. They noticed that one of their teammates, Sarah, was also having trouble climbing. Mia encouraged her, "You can do it, Sarah!" One step at a time, Mia showed Sarah the easiest path up the wall. She stayed close to her, making sure Sarah felt safe. With Mia's help, Sarah started climbing up. Both teams made it over the wall almost at the same time. The next part was the space puzzle. They had to solve a puzzle that showed the solar system. Each team had a set of pieces that they had to put together to form the correct order of the planets. The puzzle was tricky because the pieces looked very similar. The red rocket started first. Alex quickly put the pieces on the board, but something didn't look right. "Wait," he said, "I think we have the planets in the wrong order." He looked at his teammates. Who remembers the correct order of the planets? Emily, one of the team members, raised her hand. "I remember. It's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune." With Emily's help, they rearranged the pieces and completed the puzzle. They shouted, "Done!" Mia and her team were also working on the puzzle. They were fast but careful. Mia remembered the order of the planets and helped her team put the pieces together correctly. They finished just a few seconds after the red rockets. Now it was time for the most difficult part, the gravity zone. The teams had to carry a heavy box across a zigzag path without dropping it. The box was designed to feel like it was in space, with uneven weight, making it hard to carry. It needed at least 3 people to hold it. Alex's team picked up the box first. They moved slowly, trying to keep it balanced. "Easy, easy," Alex said. "Keep it steady." They made it halfway when suddenly the box tilted. They almost dropped it, but Alex and his team managed to hold it up just in time. Mia's team was right behind them. She instructed her team, "Hold it from the bottom. Keep your steps small and slow." They moved carefully, staying focused on the path. Mia led the way, watching the box to make sure it didn't tilt. Both teams were neck and neck, moving through the gravity zone. The crowd watching them held their breath. It was a tense moment. Alex's team reached the end of the zone first, but they were exhausted. They put the box down carefully and took a deep breath. The final part of the course was the tower. It was tall and had a spiral staircase that they had to climb. At the top, they had to plant their team's flag. Alex looked at the tower and then at his team. They were tired, but they knew they had to push through. "Come on, team," Alex said. "This is the last part. We can do it." Mia's team was close behind. She knew they still had a chance to win. "Let's go, Blue Comets!" She shouted. "We're almost there." The Red Rockets started climbing the tower. Alex was in the lead, followed by his teammates. They climbed as fast as they could, their hearts pounding. But climbing the tower was not easy. The steps were narrow and steep. Halfway up, Alex looked back. He saw Mia's team starting to climb. The Blue Comets were moving fast. Mia was leading, but she noticed that one of her teammates, Lily, was struggling to keep up. Mia knew that they could only win if they worked as a team. "Lily, hold my hand," Mia said. She helped Lily climb, making sure she was safe. As they neared the top, both teams were side by side. It was a race to the finish. The crowd below was cheering loudly. Everyone was excited to see who would win. At the very top of the tower, there was a small platform. Both Alex and Mia reached it at the same time. They looked at each other, out of breath. They both had their flags in their hands, but there was only one flagpole. Alex paused for a moment. He thought about the whole race and how hard both teams had worked. He knew this was not just about winning. It was about learning, teamwork, and having fun. He looked at Mia and smiled. "Why don't we plant our flags together?" he asked. Mia was surprised, but she agreed. "Yes, let's do it together," she said. They both planted their flags on the flagpole, side by side. The crowd cheered louder than ever. It was an amazing moment. The Red Rockets and the Blue Comets had both shown great teamwork and sportsmanship. Mr. Johnson came forward with a big smile on his face. "Today, we have 2 winners," he announced. Both teams have shown that the true spirit of the space race is not just about winning, but about working together, learning, and having fun. Congratulations to the Red Rockets and the Blue Comets. Alex and Mia shook hands and then hugged their teammates. They had completed the space race, and they had done it together. They had learned that sometimes it is not about who finishes first, but about how you play the game. The next week, both teams went to the Space Center as a special prize. They saw real rockets, met astronauts, and learned even more about space. It was a dream come true for all of them. Alex and Mia remained friends and continued to learn about space together. They often remembered the space race, not as a competition they had to win, but as an adventure that taught them the importance of teamwork and friendship. And so, the story of the space race became famous at Star Valley High. Every year, new students would join the race, not just to compete, but to experience the joy of learning and working together.